So the great irony of life, no matter how good you are at something, if you try to teach it to your own kids, they're not going to listen. But if they hear it from somebody else, well, there's the irony, right? And I can tell you that I'm a living example of that. We have a lot of our clients asking us to have conversations with their kids because they'll listen to us, but they won't listen to their own parents, right? And trust me, I am an example because I have 2 college-age kids and the expert in our house is never going to be myself or my wife. It's always somebody outside the house. So I think this video is going to be really helpful for anybody in that situation, or really just for anybody who's just starting to think about investing and planning and making all the right moves for their future. So these are the basic steps that we talk about with our clients' families, and I am thrilled to share some of these great starting points with you. I'll even add a couple of potential pitfalls I want you to avoid at the end. So let's go. No cap. I wasn't joking about how young adults view their parents. And yes, I just said no cap. Yeah, I know it's trendy. And I know it's really sad to see an old guy like me trying so hard to fit in these days. But low key, I'm at least trying, right? Yeah, that was also really sad. So let's get back to the stuff that I do know how to do, okay? And that's the steps that you need to take to get on the path for financial success. Here's a quick Finance 101 course in less than 10 minutes or so. So question, when to start? Retirement planning begins early. Let me tell you, a common question we get all the time is, when is the right time for me to start? And the answer is always today. If you're young right now, you probably don't have much money to get this thing going, right? But guess what you do have that all the boomers don't? Yeah, I'm a boomer. You have time. And time is a wicked powerful tool. If you think I'm exaggerating, check this chart out. Here's a chart from Visual Capitalist showing investing only $100 a month at a 10% annual return. Despite this chart reminding me of the Miami Dolphins because of these weird colors, it shows you how insanely powerful time can be. As you grow older, that little orange sliver down below at the bottom is the money that you put into this investment. That larger growing aqua-colored part is the interest that your money is making for you. Look how amazing that is. Just by being smart now, planting some seeds over a 50-year period, that plant is more than 25 times what you put into it. Now, I always use that term, planting seeds, but I realize that most of your generation doesn't do a whole heck of a lot of gardening these days. Mine did. I did. So say less, right? All right, that was bad. I'll stop trying to be relevant. I want you to think of an account like that instead, just like the one I showed you, as a bucket. And that's just one bucket, right? I'd like to see you establish a good number of different buckets in your life. Here's some examples. A retirement bucket, which I talked about, right? For when I get old money. How about a rainy day bucket for when I need to make a major move in my life? And then a liquid bucket for things I need in the next 12 months. These would be invested probably in very different things, and you probably put different amounts into each one of those buckets. But know this, it's important to create the structure today. You can always increase or decrease how much you put into each of these. Just get them started and get them open for now. Let's talk about an important thing, which is understanding your retirement accounts. So many people don't take the time for this. So that first bucket I talked about is retirement, right? The odds are if you're employed somewhere right now, pretty good chance that your employer offers a retirement plan, like a 401k or a 403b or something similar to that. There's also a pretty good chance that that same employer has some sort of matching incentive. In other words, if you put some of your own money in, then your employer will match all or some of that money. Man, if that's available to you today, I cannot stress enough how important it is for you to take advantage of that. That's free money. If you own your own business or you have a side hustle, you may be able to create your own retirement plan for your business. And if you don't have any access to any of these things, there's probably really a good chance that you're still eligible to start an IRA, which stands for Individual Retirement Account. In 2024, you can contribute $7,000 into those accounts, a little bit more if you're over 50. That's almost 6 times more contribution than the $100 a month chart that I just showed you a few minutes ago. And you should also give thought to whether you want to save that money into a Roth 401k or other IRA options. So what does that mean? Well, those are very similar options, but the main difference comes down to whether you want to pay the tax now or pay it later in your future. Again, my recommendation is always going to be to usually do both. Builds flexibility into your life and for now and in your future years. So I like a good balance of future taxation and taxation now. Actually, no taxation, but that's a whole other story. Let's talk investment strategies. So let's talk for a minute about what you do with the money that you put into those buckets. Do you buy NVIDIA stock or crypto or treasuries or mutual funds or exchange traded funds, money markets, CDs? How about yes? How about yes to all those? Or how about maybe not? Diversification is the key to spreading your investments across different categories or what we call asset classes, things like stocks, bonds, real estate. Why do we spread it out like that? Well, it's because these things tend to move in different ways in different times. So as much as you would love all your investments to go up together, trust me, you'd like to also avoid all of it going down together. Over time, they hopefully move all in the right direction for you, but it helps balance out that risk. Speaking of risk, what's your appetite, right? First off, we need to know why. Why are people willing to take risk with their money at all? Well, usually, not always, but usually when you take more risk, then the reward usually means it's a higher return on that money. But that doesn't always happen. And I can tell you that many people rush into something and they throw money at it only to see it evaporate or get chopped down substantially. And then they panic or they get angry. This is where I go into my usual roller coaster analogy. So some of you may have heard it before, but it never hurts to hear it again. At least I hope I'm not causing you any pain in sharing the story with you a second time. When you go to an amusement park, you can walk in, you can see the roller coaster, right? You can tell by the height of the thing, by the speed of the car, whether or not you're comfortable getting on that roller coaster. Sounds like I'm making a stretch here, but honestly, investing has a lot of similarities between itself and a roller coaster. You got your ups, and you're usually like slow and steady on the upside. You're clinking up the hill in the cart. And oftentimes when you get to a peak at some point, you have a very quick correction or a drop down on the other side of that thing, right? And then many other things begin to happen during that ride. The bigger roller coasters have bigger thrills and usually have people more experienced and older going on them. But the worst feeling in the world, whether you're riding it or you're investing in it, is realizing too late that you got onto a ride or into an investment you don't have the stomach for. Things are going to end badly. So just make sure that you know what ride you're getting on or investment you're getting into before you invest in it. Compound interest. I don't know if I need to really go into compound interest again since I covered it already in that chart earlier, but it's worth emphasizing a second time. Time and money is one of the most powerful combinations you'll have in your life. Take advantage of the compound interest that they generate together. How about potential pitfalls? I promised you things I want you to avoid, right? Let me give you a couple quick things right now. Not saving enough money. As a rule of thumb, I would recommend that you try to save 10 to 15% of your paycheck into a combination of those retirement plan and some of the other buckets that I mentioned earlier. Now, the odds are that's probably more than what your match is from your employer. But that does not mean that you can't keep putting more into those buckets, right? And trust me, I've said this on a lot of videos. I'm 27 years in the business. I've never had anybody walk into my office and say, oh my gosh, what am I going to do now? I saved way too much money. What a horrible problem. You don't have to save everything and you don't have to live on tuna fish and fumes for 30 years, but you do have to find the right balance in your life. So you're still living today and you're saving for your future. Another thing to avoid is ignoring inflation. You have to account for rising costs over time. They're inevitable. That compounding interest will help you do that for sure. But another hack that you can start doing today is to keep bumping your savings each time you get a raise at work or you're changing jobs. Make these things a must for your savings plan. And then I also want you to avoid market timing. And a lot of people love the sexiness, if that's a word, sexiness, the attraction or trying to time the market, but you really don't have to do that yourself. Even if you have lady luck on your side once or twice, the law of probability that you will continue to be that unicorn who constantly picks the right things at the right time is extremely low, almost non-existent. There's enough in life to stress you out. Don't put that unnecessary pressure on your shoulders. And the really good news is you don't have to take that kind of risk to have success if you follow the recommendations I've already mentioned. Remember, this is just a starting point. All this stuff I just covered. If it's your starting point, then make smart decisions, make them now, and have less regrets later. And I hope this video was helpful. Feel free to pass it on along to your kids or someone you know who needs that spark to get them started, or maybe they already have the spark and they just want to know, hey, what are the first steps of my journey looking like? I'll see you in the next video.